Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about me, or where I work rather, before I get started. So I work for Enterprise Mobility. Most of you may be familiar with one of our lines of business called Enterprise Rental Car or National Alamo, but we actually have 9 lines of business. The company has been around for 67 years. We have 90,000 employees. We operate in 90 countries and territories. We have 2.3 million vehicles in our fleet. And let's say, last year we hit 38 billion in revenue. And I am the very first experienced research manager at the company. Woo! Black girl magic. Okay, and it was interesting. So I came into Enterprise they had never had an experienced research manager before or a leader. And so when I walked in the door though, we had the meeting invite. We had the proverbial seat at the table. But it was here that I realized, damn, we ain't asking the right questions. So here's my provocation to you guys. Researchers aren't asking the right questions, or good questions rather. And this came to be because this is always interesting when I do these talks. Something had literally just happened to me that ties into the talk. And so that's the case surely for this instance, in which we were working on a project. You think about Enterprise Rent-A-Car, you go online to book your reservation. You're looking at economy, compact, mid-size, full-size, and SUV, and we call those our car classes, right? And so they said, there seemed to be a lot of confusion when people get to the branch that they're not getting the right car to fit their needs. And it may be because they're not booking the right car, and there may be because there may be some confusion around how many different car classes we have and which car is the right car that's gonna have something similar to what they're gonna get when they get to the branch. And so there was an assumption that there was some confusion there. So we did this 15-week generative and then concept testing work stream that we do. And so we had got through the first 5 weeks and finished generative research, and our stakeholders were really surprised by what we brought forward as far as what we wanted to do next in concept testing. And because the version of this concept did not include a more simplified version of our car classes, what I realized, they had named the work stream Simplified Car Class. That was the name of the project. It had baked in an assumption about what we would be delivering to that stakeholder, just simply from the name of the project. So when we gave them something that said, we don't need to reduce the number of car classes, we just need to create clarity in other ways, they were like, huh, that doesn't make any sense. That's not simplified to them. And so that gave me kind of the inspiration of, we surely did not ask them what assumptions they had, what hypotheses were already on the table, and what did they think we were going to be delivering at the end of this. Now we can correct ourselves, but then we have to go do research, right? More work, more time, more energy, because we didn't ask the right question on the front end. My provocation, researchers aren't asking good questions. And it's frustrating, our business partners. So I'm gonna spend the next 8 minutes going through what are those missed opportunities? What are the questions that we're leaving on the table? And how can we, in the next 8 minutes, develop all the skills necessary to ask really good questions? I promise you, you will not walk out of this room without this skill. And then we're gonna put it into practice, insight to action. All right, y'all ready? Cool, cool. So here's what we're up against. It costs too damn much. It takes too damn long. Damn ain't in there, but Julie told me to be my authentic self. And I'm not sure this will get me the answer that I care about. Now this was interesting because I was at a table at lunch. Elizabeth, where are you? Raise your hand. You said something to me that was interesting, that inspired me, because you said it's a victim mentality. Because sometimes the business don't even feel this way. We feel this way. We think the business feels this way. And so we internalize a lot of that junk. And because of that, we create this us versus them. We talked about it last year in collab. But we don't open ourselves up to exploration. What hypotheses exist, and they may or may not be wrong, but at least put it in position of our work. Let's prove out what those assumptions might be and help the business connect the dots. And so that's what we're gonna talk about a little further. I got 2 more slides. I promise I won't be up here long. So we are missing the big picture perspective. When I Greg said, I'm by trade actually a more strategist, business strategist. I came from more marketing proper. I am not a UX practitioner by trade. However, I lead the function. And part of that is helping connect the dots between something that's super academic or seems intangible to what the business objective may be. And part of it is having that big picture perspective. Our research doesn't have reach because our vision is short-sighted. We only can see really what's right in front of us and not seeing the larger landscape of things. And so here's an opportunity for us to think about those questions and then help them influence our work and show the connectivity. And so the first question is, what learning objectives are there? And are they understood and are they in alignment? Sounds very simple. But here's an opportunity for us as researchers not to create these very fluffy, what did Julie say yesterday? We like words, lots of words. And so being very intentional about using plain speak, what is it that we're getting after? What is it that we're saying? And making sure that the thing that we're learning is the thing that we need to learn for the work right in front of us, the work that's on the table and the decisions that need to be made. It's not really most important for us to show our expertise and pump our chest up with how smart we are, but really the most important thing in these conversations is alignment. And so that's going to be important. And then again, as I mentioned, what hypotheses, in the example that I gave, addressing those assumptions up front would have helped us ensure that we're addressing them through the data. I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to use that data to prove out that assumption, to show you why that can't be true, or to show you that you were right. And so we use that as an opportunity to weave in what we believe that hypothesis might have on the decision, and then weave that into our data as we continue on in our testing. What decisions are we influencing? And this sounds really cool. Oh, we're a part of that. But really, when you apply that big picture perspective, it's more about, like I mentioned, how do you weave the answers to those decisions into your research? Not just delivering a 50-page research report and the business stakeholders like, I don't know what to do with this and I don't know what it's telling me. Just tell me straight up. They always want a summary. Give me the highlights. Give me the cliff notes. Give me the elevator pitch, right? They never want to hear really the context. But if we pull in their assumptions, it's not just bringing them along as we learn, right? And we talk a lot about bringing people into the insights and making sure that they feel good about them as we're learning. But it's more about what questions do you have and weaving that into the data, letting the research tell the story that's driving that decision making. And so we want to be sure that we're doing that. The most important thing to remember, it is not just knowing the answers to these questions, but the conversions of how we use the answers to this question in our research. And so that they aren't surprised by those results and they're already bought in because of the credibility that you've built by asking them the right questions in the beginning. So, look, y'all already got the skills. I ain't got to teach you nothing. So, guess what? As a researcher, you already have the skills to ask good questions. This is part of, I think Judd said this earlier and a couple other people have mentioned this, turning the lens on ourselves, using the skill that we have as researchers, as business strategists, as people who lead with empathy to really utilize those skill sets to ask those better questions. And so we do that by first setting the stage. We want to state very clearly why we're here. And when you get that seat at the table, make sure you're setting the stage, providing the connectivity to the research. Hey, we can go learn about that. What big questions do you have? What is it that would help you feel more informed about what you guys are going to do next? And so we want to be sure that we set the stage. And so we early on create that connectivity. Gain a baseline understanding. My team is a discovery, journey mapping, early strategic generative research team. We don't do a lot of UX evaluative work. But part of what we do in journey mapping work, obviously, is gaining a baseline understanding. And so we want to do that when we're working with our business partners, especially understanding the environment that we're working in. And I think this is a miss. If you understand really how the company is operating, what's top of mind, what are some strategic priorities, but also the industry and how it's moving, how are our customers evolving, using what we know to be true by being close to the customer to say, hey, this is the environment that we're operating in. This is what our customers are telling us, and these are some of the opportunities that we have on the table. And really establishing that baseline with both your research team, your design team, product, and our business stakeholders. And again, as I mentioned, those assumptions and decisions. And then thirdly, what I also see as a missed opportunity is future state ideation. Sometimes the thing that gets the needle moving is not a research report. It's not an insights deck. It's a journey map, or it's a persona profile, or it's a creative matrix. It's something else that is more tangible that it can help that message really resonate to them. And so if you'd establish that at the beginning, what would help you move on this thing? And they may not have an artifact name to call it, but they can give you an idea of some of the components that they'd be looking for that thing to tell them. And so we want to be sure that the deliverables that we have are going to help them answer those questions and have impact. Okay. That's it.